Sisters, I have to share my recent gynecological examination experience that embarrassed me to the point of digging my toes into the ground. I really hope that you will not be as panicked as I was in the future. About a month ago, I felt something was wrong down there. It was always itchy, and there was often strange secretions on my underwear. At first, I comforted myself. Maybe I just stayed up too late recently. It will be fine in a few days, right? But not only did it not get better, but it got worse and worse. The secretions became more and more, and there was a strange smell. Only then did I realize that I had to go to the hospital. I searched online for a long time and chose a gynecological department of a tertiary hospital. My hands were shaking when I registered. When I arrived at the hospital, my God, the waiting area was as crowded as a subway during rush hour. When I sat down on the chair waiting for my number to be called, I was so nervous that my palms were sweating, and my mind was crazy about waiting. How terrible will the examination be? Will it hurt? Will the doctor think I'm sloppy? What if the examination posture is particularly embarrassing? Finally, I heard the nurse calling my name. I took several deep breaths before I dared to push the door open. As a result, I looked up and it was a male doctor. At that time, I was completely frozen. My first reaction was to turn around and run. But then I thought, since I'm here, I can't delay the disease, right? Doctors have seen everything, so I forced myself to sit down and described the symptoms with a trembling voice. What broke me the most was the examination. The doctor asked me to lie on the examination bed and said, "There is a lot of secretion, and it needs to be cleaned up before I can see clearly." At that moment, I just wanted to disappear on the spot. Although I knew rationally that this was a normal operation, my body was completely uncontrollably frozen, and I couldn't even breathe. The gynecological examination experience that day still makes me blush when I think about it now. When I changed into the examination gown and lay on the examination bed, the coldness of the metal bed made me tremble all over, and my heart beat so fast that it seemed to jump out of my chest. When the male doctor wearing a mask pushed the door in, I subconsciously closed my eyes tightly and clenched the edge of the bed with both hands, and my nails almost sank into my palms. There is a lot of secretion, which needs to be cleaned first. The doctor's sudden words made me freeze instantly, and my whole face was hot as if it was burned by fire. Oh my God, is this too straightforward? I secretly opened a crack to look at him, but found that his expression was normal, as if he was just saying, "It's a good day today." He turned around and took out an instrument with a hose, and whispered, "Don't be nervous. It will be done soon." But my body was completely out of control and stiff as a board. When the instrument started working, the strange suction made me feel uncomfortable all over, and my toes curled up together. I prayed frantically in my heart, "Please end it soon. God, this is 100 times more painful than public speaking. Will it hurt?" the doctor asked routinely. My voice was shaking. It's okay." In fact, I didn't dare to think about what I was going through. During the examination, my brain was completely occupied by all kinds of random thoughts. What if my best friend knew such embarrassing details? What was that instrument just now? Will the doctor think I'm sloppy? Finally, the doctor took off his gloves and said, it's just an ordinary inflammation. It will be cured in a week if you take the medicine on time. Hearing this, I felt relieved and quickly tidied my clothes. Before leaving, the doctor also specifically instructed, "Come for a check-up earlier if you feel uncomfortable in the future." I put on my clothes as if I was escaping, grabbed the prescription and rushed out. When I was waiting in line to pay the fee, I always felt that the eyes of people around me were vaguely glancing at me, as if they all knew what I had just experienced. An aunt looked at me twice more, and I immediately had the absurd thought of, did she smell the disinfectant? My ears were burning, and I wanted to bury my face in my collar. After I got home and threw myself on the bed, I began to seriously review this disaster. In fact, I should blame myself the most. I clearly found something wrong 2 weeks ago, but I had to wait until the symptoms became serious before coming to the hospital. If I had come earlier, maybe I could have taken medicine for 2 days and I wouldn't have had to go through such an embarrassing examination. And if I had checked the gynecological examination process online before coming, I wouldn't have been scared to death by the sucking secretions operation. It's been several days since this happened, but the sequelae are still there. Yesterday, when I was shopping with my friends and passed by the hospital entrance, I felt like I was touching. It was like an electric shock that pulled her to take a detour. Lying in bed at night, I would suddenly think of the scene during the examination. My toes would curl up immediately, and I had to toss and turn for a long time to make pancakes before I could fall asleep. Now that I think about it, the doctor was actually very professional throughout the whole process. I was the one who demonized ordinary medical operations, so I want to use my blood and tears to remind everyone. First, if a girl feels uncomfortable down there, don't bear it. The longer you delay, the more you suffer. Second, you can check the relevant examination items before seeing a doctor, such as the difference between routine leukorrhea and HPV screening, so that you won't panic. Third, if you are really shy, you can take the initiative to ask a female nurse to be present. Finally, I want to say that this kind of embarrassment is really not just you. If you feel the same after reading my story, please share it in the comment area. Let us comfort each other. It is not shameful to see a gynecologist, and it is super brave to care about your own health. Well, that's it for today's video. Everyone is welcome to leave a message to discuss, and we will talk about it next time.